And today I'm talking about visas that we come with into the US that will not allow us to adjust to get a green card. So the C visa is to enable you transit through the US into that second country. So if you're given a C visa and you get into the US or you get to the airport and you decide to exit, no one is going to stop you from exiting. You can't exit if you want. But just remember that if you exit with a C visa and you come within the US, you're living in the US, and say, thankfully, you meet someone who is a US citizen or a green card holder, and you get married and you're ready to adjust or to get your green card. Because you came in with a C visa, you will not be able to adjust.
Guys, I welcome you live on SBTV International. My name is DJ Nyam, and today is another week. Thank God for another day. Today I have with me U.S. lawyer Abba, immigration lawyer. You know, I've been hosting her every week. You see her videos on SBTV International and SBTV Africa. SBTV Africa is in our local dialect, but SBTV International is the English language. So, guys, you are welcome to our channel. Make sure you tap on subscribe, like, share. For further, you can contact lawyer Abba on the social media handles. Let me just welcome her. Lawyer, welcome you live on SBTV International. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, DJ. Thank you for having me once again.
Oh, nice. Good to have you here. You're always on point. Lawyer Abba, champion lawyer. So, lawyer, so far today, what do you have for us? What are we talking about today?
Yes, so today's topic is, as I always say, is always based on issues that come to me during the week. And today I'm talking about visas that we come with into the US that will not allow us to adjust to get a green card. So not all visas are the same.
There are some types of visas you have it when you get to US, you cannot have green card.
No, you cannot.
I see. Good to hear that. Okay, so lawyer, let's go over to you. Tell us about it.
Thank you, DG. Thank you once again. Okay, so as I indicated earlier on, it's today is born out of problems or issues that a lot of people have reached out to me about in terms of the kind of visas that they have and the fact that they're having problems with adjusting or getting their green card. So today I decided to just run through the list so you have an idea of the kind of visa, just so that if somebody presents that visa to you, and your long-term goal or plan is to live within the US and to have your green card, you will know right off from the beginning that this visa will not allow you. So the first one is the visa they call the C visa. So C as in cat, C as in Catherine, C, yes, C. I run through the list of, so the C visa. The C visa is a transit visa. It is given to people who are transiting through the US to another country. Some of the South American countries, you cannot fly directly from your home country to those countries. You would have to have a stopover in the US and then join another flight to those countries. So for people who are going to those, say, second or third country outside of America that they cannot fly directly from their home countries, they are granted the C visa. So the C visa is to enable you transit through the US into that second country. So if you're given a C visa and you get into the US or you get to the airport and you decide to exit, no one is going to stop you from exiting. You can't exit if you want. But just remember that if you exit with a C visa and you come within the US, you're living in the US, and say, thankfully, you meet someone who is a US citizen or a green card holder, and you get married and you're ready to adjust or to get your green card. Because you came in with a C visa, you will not be able to adjust. That's the whole purpose. You won't be able to, no matter the category of the person you marry, even if you get an employment, even if you get a sponsor, you won't be able to adjust from that C visa because it's a transit visa and you're not supposed to stay beyond a particular point, and pretty much is in and out. giving you access to the US airport or transportation zone just for you to come in and leave. So if you use the C visa, you come in and you stay, you cannot get a green card. Even if you marry a US citizen or you get an employment offer, you just cannot adjust status. That's the first category. The second one deals with a visa called the D visa. So D as in Daniel, D as in door. Yes, is a crewman's visa. The crewman's visa is given to people who are joining ships, vessels, international airlines as crew members. So they are going to work on, either on a ship, on a vessel, or an international airline. So if you're given a D visa, you cannot adjust status with that D visa. If you come in with a D visa, you join your ship, you join your vessel, most times it gives you the opportunity. There's a time limit. With a D visa, you can stay within the US for 29 days. And that's just because, of course, you go onto a vessel, you go work, you come in for a week or two, and then you switch again, you go up onto the vessel. Because people do that for years or months. All they have to do is they are on the vessel, they go in, they come in. And I was just so intrigued to see that, to hear from other African people who join from their home countries and they actually come into the US and they're joining from Florida, they come in to join these ships, to join these vessels, to join, especially the cruise ships as well. They work on it as crew members. So if you come in with a D visa, to join let's say a cruise or to work on a cruise ship. And after whatever period that you've worked on it, it ends, or in the process, you decide, you know what, I want to stay. I want to stay within the US. If you decide to stay, you would never be able to get your green card. And that's just because of the kind of visa that you have. It's a D visa and you cannot adjust. So even if you marry, as I always say, you marry a US citizen, you marry a green card holder, you cannot file for an adjustment for your green card because you have a D visa, which doesn't allow adjustments. And then there's also another visa. I'm sure this one will be I'm sure our students know, the J1 visa, which is the student exchange visitor visa. So for J1 visas, if you come in, not all J1s are the same. Depending on the country that you got your J1 from, some have a requirement or a limitation of a 2-year home residency requirement. All what this says is if you have a J1 visa, at the end of your visa period or your training or whatever brought you into the US, you would have to go back home for a period of 2 years before you can come back. So if you have that 2-year residency requirement on your J1, you cannot adjust status unless you get a waiver. Once you're granted the waiver, then you can proceed to adjust. But if you don't have a waiver, then you have to live by the 2-year home residency requirement of going back home for 2 years before coming back to the US. So if you have a J1 with the limitation or the 2-year home residency requirement, you cannot adjust status. And it's not every country that issues a J1 with a 2-year home residency requirement. There are some countries that if you get a J1, it's completely free and clear. So it has no limitations on it. So if you have that sort of J1, then if you come here, you can adjust your status just because you don't have that limitation. And then there's those who come in with the K1 and the K2. So the K1 is the fiancé visa, and the K2 is the dependent of the fiancé. So whoever the K1 is, let's say if they have a child, the child would have the K2 because they're a dependent. The thing with the K1 visa is it's a single entry visa. So when you come in, you need to marry your US citizen petitioner within 90 days of entry. So if you come in with your K1 and you're living with your US citizen petitioner and things are not working out, or the marriage or the engagement isn't looking like what you thought it was going to be, you cannot leave that US citizen, the one who petitioned for you, to say marry another US citizen for them to adjust status for you. No, your K1 is tied to the person who petitioned for you, who you have to marry, who would then adjust your status for you. So if you don't do it in that step-by-step process within 90 days, of course. So if you don't do it within that step-by-step process of marrying that US citizen petitioner within 90 days, then you cannot adjust status with anyone. You can't, because you came in with a K1 visa for a particular US citizen petitioner. So if that doesn't work out, you would have to leave and probably come back with another non-immigrant visa if your plan is to stay in here and get a green card. So if you get a K1, the person who petitioned for you, you would have to marry within 90 days. And after the marriage, then you can adjust your status to get a green card. And then we're looking at the people, our family friends who live in Europe, who are part of the visa waiver program. So America has a visa waiver program with some countries in Europe, where their citizens, in coming to America, you don't have to go to the US consulates to file for a visa, to join, have it, all of that. It's just an application. And then you're granted the ESTA. So if you have an ESTA that you can come into the US with, you cannot adjust status on your ESTA unless you are the spouse, the child, or the parent of a US citizen. So if you fall under any of those categories, then if you come in with your ESTA, you can adjust. But if not, because the purpose of the ESTA is to make travel easy between those countries in Europe and the US. So it's not an avenue for you to come in to get your green card and become a permanent resident. So if you're part of that visa waiver program and you come in with your ESTA, if you're not a spouse, a child, or a parent of a US citizen, you cannot adjust. You cannot get your green card. And last but not the least is people who are on the M visas, M as in mother. Yes, M as in mother. So if you're on an M visa, it's a vocational student visa. So if you have a vocational student visa, after your training, you would have to go back home. You cannot use that visa to adjust your status. That is not done. They won't just allow you. So if you fall under any of these categories, as I have explained, then it's impossible, it's nearly impossible for you to adjust status and get your green card just because of the type of visa that you have and the purpose for which that visa was granted. So they just won't allow you to adjust to get your green card. Now that I've spoken about the visas and adjustment, I also wanted to touch briefly about change of status. So change of status is different from adjustment. Adjustment is when you have a non-immigrant visa and now you want an immigrant visa, or you want an immigrant status or permanent residency status. When it comes to change of status, it's from a non-immigrant category to another non-immigrant category. So let's say if you have a visitor's visa at B1, B2, and you want to change to a student visa, which is an F1, which is also another non-immigrant visa, that is when you file for a change of status. Or let's say you're on an F1, which is a student visa, and you want to change to an H1B, which is a work visa, but even it's also a non-immigrant visa. That is when the change of status would come in. But just remember that if you're changing your status, make sure that at the time of the application, you're in a valid non-immigrant status. So let's say you're B1, B2, you want to change to an F1. At the time that you apply, your visa should be valid and your status should be valid. Because for visitors visa, most times you have 6 months to stay. So it has to be within that period that is valid for you. That is when you apply for the change of status. So if you overstay, from the very first day of your overstay, you cannot change your status. The application has to be done at the time in which you are in a valid non-immigrant status. And not just that, you also have to be eligible for the new non-immigrant status that you're going for. So if you have a visitor's visa, you're going for a student visa or the F1, you would have paid your fees, gotten admission, and all of that, your I-20 filled out, all of that, for you to be able to get the F1 visa. And as you, in terms of change of statuses, I would always encourage people, you reach out to any immigration attorney near you who would be able to assist you, just so that you make sure that the application is done, because most times it takes a while for USCIS to get back on the decision for a change of status. You normally fill the form I-539 for the change of status, but if you have an attorney guiding you, most time your status is, the extension is valid for 6 months, but you can file another 6-month extension. So then they're able to track it to see when the decision comes from USCIS. So if there's no decision within the first block of 6 months, they can file a second block 6-month extension, just so you're covered and you don't overstay. So basically today, I just wanted to touch points on the visas that will not allow you to adjust, because not all visas are the same. And then if you do come in with a non-immigrant visa and you intend to change status to another non-immigrant visa, what you need to do. So this is my short presentation to everyone. Thank you, DJ.
Wow, lawyer, thank you so much, Lawyer Abba, for this wonderful, what should I say? Is it educative, or what should I say?
Yeah, it's just,
what should I say?
Yeah, it's education, because it's knowledge we don't know. So,
For this knowledge.
Yes. Yes, DJ.
Thank you so much
I'm
for
always
having
happy
time.
to be here.
Yes, it's good to be here every week. You try to. So how far with the feedback? Are you getting response? Are people contacting you? I mean, do you have time to respond to them and all that? Are they reaching out to you?
Oh, they are. They are. I mean, some questions are simple. Some questions I'll be able to answer even when I'm driving. I can give you a one-word answer. Others too are very specific to the person, and is, you have to ask follow-up questions and all of that. So once I see that your question is unique, I'll just tell you, set up an appointment, because I do like a Zoom appointment. I'll have time to ask you questions, to hear your story, and then to give you available options. The only thing is my appointments are paid. So that way I have time for you, and then we can talk more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you can contact Lawyer Abba on her social media handles. It's Abba_immigration attorney. As you can see on the page, Abba_immigration attorney on Instagram, Facebook, and also on TikTok. You can also reach her on the number on the screen. You can contact her, or she's also on WhatsApp, so you can WhatsApp her. Lawyer, what's your WhatsApp line? Mention it again.
Okay, it's +1 815 258 8727.
Okay. All right, guys. So just make sure you follow up if you don't understand anything. If you need a painful champion lawyer, contact Lawyer Abba. She'll sort you out. Lawyer, thank you so much for having time for us. Enjoy your weekend. Hope to see you next week. All the best, Lawyer.
You too, DJ. Thank you so much.
Nice one. So thank you guys for watching SBTV International. My name is DJ Nyam. If you want to come on my show, my numbers are on the screens. Just WhatsApp me or send me a voice note. And then make sure you tap on subscribe. Recommend our channel to your friends to join us. Charlie, big up, guys. Keep supporting SBTV International, SBTV Africa, SBTV Africa Foundation. Charlie, peace out.